After our Christmas dinner, I saw my card was charged for all the gifts. Dad said, "We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." Shaking, I grabbed my phone and said to him, "Then you'll love what comes next." He laughed. The next day, my phone exploded with 53 missed calls. Cousins were screaming, Mom was begging, and Dad was begging me to stop. But then, hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. "You've got to be kidding me," I said, my hand frozen mid-air holding my fork. I had just checked my phone under the table. At first I thought it was some glitch, a $13,642 charge to my credit card that morning. But then I saw the breakdown. Department stores, toy chains, online gift shops, all the presents. Every single one of them. Who did this? I asked quietly, my voice cutting through the background noise of crinkling wrapping paper and half-hearted Christmas carols on the speaker. Dad looked up from his wine glass too casually, like I just asked if the turkey was dry. "We voted," he said with a straight face. "You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." I blinked. "Well," he went on like he was explaining weather patterns, "you don't have kids, the rest of us do, so we thought it was only fair you cover the gifts this year for the little ones." I stared at him, then at Mom, who quickly looked down at her plate. My sister kept sipping her wine while her twins tore open Lego boxes I apparently paid for. My cousin Jeff gave me a sheepish shrug, like he knew it was wrong but wasn't about to stand up for me. "You used my card without asking," I said. "You just decided I'd pay for everything because I'm single?" "You always say you don't mind helping," Mom muttered. "Helping?" I repeated, nearly laughing. "Helping is offering this." This was backroom plotting. "Don't get so bent out of shape," Dad said with a shrug. "It's just money. You've got plenty." My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear the words over the pulse in my ears. I scanned the table. 12 people, half of whom hadn't spoken to me all year unless it was to ask for a favor or a loan. And now they'd quietly agreed that I should fund their holiday like some kind of reward for being childless. "You're unbelievable," I said, standing up. "Sit down," my cousin snapped. "Don't ruin the mood. The kids are having a good time." "Oh, don't worry," I said, reaching into my pocket for my phone. "I'm not going to ruin the mood. I'm going to end the show." "What's that supposed to mean?" Dad asked, amused. I met his eyes. "It means you're going to love what comes next." He actually laughed like I was bluffing, like I was too spineless to finally do what I should have done years ago. He didn't laugh the next day, because the next day my phone blew up. 53 missed calls, cousins screaming, Mom begging, Dad actually begging me to stop. But by then I'd already hit send, and there was no turning back. You don't wake up one day and realize your family sees you as a wallet. No, it happens slowly, quietly, like a leak under the floorboards. You only notice the rot when the whole thing caves in. It started years ago. After college, I got a job in tech. Nothing insane, just steady work, health insurance, and a paycheck that didn't bounce. My sister got pregnant at 23 and moved back home. My cousin Jason dropped out of grad school and started figuring things out. For 7 years straight, my parents said it was just a rough patch for everyone. And me, I was the one who had it together. That's what they always said. "You're doing well. You don't need much," my mom used to remind me with a soft, patronizing smile. "You're lucky. You should share that luck." My aunt once said while accepting a rent check from me, for her son. At first it was small. School supplies for the kids, gas money for someone's job interview, chipping in for a group birthday gift I never agreed to. But then it became constant. When my brother Dan lost his job, I paid his rent for 6 months. When my cousin Sarah wanted to launch her small business, I covered her Shopify fees and bought her entire first inventory batch. She sold 2 items and never mentioned it again. When Uncle Greg had a health scare and no insurance, guess who footed the bill? Yep, I didn't complain. Not at first. I kept telling myself, this is what families do. But here's the thing. Families don't hand you the knife and thank you for the bleeding. They bled me dry. And I let them. The worst part? They acted like they were doing me a favor. You get to feel good about helping. Your name's on the group card, that's special. Don't be so uptight, we're family. No one ever said thank you. Not once. It wasn't just about money. It was time, energy, attention, emotional bandwidth. I was the default babysitter. The emergency contact. The someone needs to help guy. When I had the flu one Christmas Eve, I texted my mom to say I couldn't make it. She replied, "Okay, but can you still send the gifts? The kids are counting on you." I remember sitting on my bathroom floor, wrapped in a blanket, dizzy with fever and thinking, why do they only remember I exist when there's a bill attached to me? But the moment it truly clicked, the moment that started the chain reaction. 3 months before that Christmas dinner, I had taken my niece to a bookstore and let her pick out whatever she wanted. $150 later, she had art supplies, hardcovers, and a giant stuffed sloth she named Slumpy. She was thrilled. I was happy too, until I dropped her off. "Where's Slumpy from?" my sister asked. I smiled. "I let her pick it out today." My sister frowned. "You're spoiling her. You think you're the fun uncle just because you have money?" I blinked. "What?" "Honestly," she scoffed. "Maybe spend less on toys and more on a personality." It hit me so hard I almost laughed. I just spent my weekend with her kid. Time I could have spent resting, dating, living. And instead of thanks, I got mocked. Like being helpful made me pathetic. That was when the mask slipped. Not hers, mine. I saw them for what they were. Takers dressed like loved ones, experts in guilt. They never respected me. They barely liked me. I wasn't family. I was a funding source. And then came December. Christmas plans started circulating in the family group chat mid-November. Of course I was expected to host again. Buy for all the kids again. Be Santa with a credit limit. Again. I was ready to say no this time. I swear I was. But then my dad texted me personally, "You're really good at this stuff. Why don't you just handle all the gifts again? We'll settle up later." I never got settled up for last year, or the year before. So I replied, short and cold, "Only if we agree in advance who's paying." He left me on red, and then didn't reply for 3 weeks. I thought maybe they'd gotten the message. I was wrong. Because they used my backup card instead. A card I gave my mom years ago. Just in case. She still had the number, and apparently she'd shared it. Because the statement showed purchases from 5 different stores, none of which were in her area. She bought nothing. They had bought everything. And when I brought it up at dinner, they laughed. They laughed. Dad's exact words, "We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." Like it was fair. Like this was democracy. Like I didn't have the right to say no. At that moment I realized they really believed it. They thought I existed to ease their burden. That being child-free meant I owed a tax to the ones who had real families. That my life, my peace, my time, my finances were optional compared to theirs. And when I stood up, when I said they'd love what came next, they didn't flinch. Dad laughed, because in their eyes I was bluffing. Always had been. I barely slept that night, not out of guilt. I wasn't past that part yet, but I wasn't fully there either. I was wide awake, lying in bed and replaying every insult, every unspoken expectation, every time they made me feel less than for not having what they had. Kids, debt, chaos. Somehow that made them superior, noble, and me disposable. But as the sun rose and painted my ceiling pale orange, I felt something shift. The hesitation drained out of me like poison. And what replaced it wasn't just anger, it was clarity. They wanted to treat this like a democracy? Fine, let's talk about democracy. So I opened my laptop and I typed, subject line, holiday contribution changes. Body, effective immediately. I'm stepping away from all financial support related to our extended family. That includes Christmas gifts, birthday gifts for minors or adults, school tuition contributions, mortgage bridges, emergency Venmos, bailouts for unexpected vet bills, car repairs, or Disney Plus subscriptions. If you've already spent money using my cards, expect a chargeback. If you've saved my information or shared it without my consent, expect legal contact. You voted. I'm voting back. Merry Christmas, the childless one. And then I hit send. To everyone. Every name in that group chat. My parents, my sister, all 6 cousins. My aunt, who still thinks I owe her for that one time she babysat me when I was 4. And then I shut off my phone. It took them exactly 7 hours and 16 minutes to break. When I turned my phone back on, it exploded like a grenade in my hand. 53 missed calls, dozens of texts, voicemails from sobbing relatives, cousins threatening to sue me for emotional damage. A message from my mom that started with "I'm heartbroken" and ended with "This is beyond disappointing." And Dad called me 12 times. His last voicemail was just one sentence. "Please, for the love of God, don't do this." But it was already done, because by the time they realized what I meant by chargeback, I'd already spoken to my bank. The fraud claim had been approved. Over $3,600 in unauthorized spending was now flagged. Those Barbie dream houses and Nerf sniper rifles, on hold. The Christmas iPads in boxes, returned. And the cherry on top, I froze the emergency card. So when my cousin Sarah tried to use it for a hotel reservation later that night, declined. Twice. The fallout was nuclear. The next day, I got a call from my uncle, one of the few who never asked me for money, but also never said anything when the rest of them did. His voice was low and ashamed. "Your mom's in tears," he said. "She says you ruined Christmas." I didn't flinch. "No," I said. "They ruined it when they made it a transaction. They were just overwhelmed." "No," I cut in. "They were entitled. There's a difference." He was quiet then. "You really charging them all back?" "I already did," he sighed. "Well, I can't say they didn't have it coming." Then he hung up. That was the last civil message I got for days. The real showdown came 3 days later. I came home from work to find them waiting on my porch. Mom, Dad, and my sister Rachel, with her arms crossed and face twisted like she was chewing battery acid. "Can we talk?" Mom asked, her voice already shaking. I opened the door. "Say what you came to say." "We didn't mean for it to happen like that," she said quickly. "We just thought..." "What? That I'd shut up and foot the bill again?" "That I'd smile and say, sure, rob me blind, but let's do it with eggnog?" Dad tried to step in. "Son, let's not turn this into some kind of war. We're family." I laughed loud. "You declared war the second you used my card without asking and called it voting. That didn't feel like family. It felt like betrayal." Rachel rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you still on about that? You're acting like we drained your entire savings." "I paid for your car last summer," I shouted. "Because you couldn't commute with a cracked windshield. You said you'd pay me back," she snorted. "You make 6 figures. You'll survive." "And that right there," I said, stepping closer, "is why this ends now. You all treat me like I'm just a wallet that occasionally shows up with a casserole." My mom's eyes filled with tears. "We were just trying to give the kids a good Christmas." "So steal from me?" Dad stepped forward. "Enough. This has gone too far. You need to fix this. Undo the chargebacks right now." I stared at him and said nothing, so he tried a different angle. "Think about how this looks," he said darkly. "What do you want people to say? That you betrayed your family over a few toys? I didn't even blink. No, I said. I want people to say that I finally grew a spine. And then I said the one sentence that made my mom gasp, Rachel scream, and my dad go completely white in the face. I'm done with all of you. I've already blocked your numbers, and as of this weekend, I'm moving to another state, alone. The silence was glorious. I opened my front door. Now get off my porch. The first 48 hours after that confrontation were dead silent, and honestly, it was beautiful. No phone calls, no passive-aggressive texts, no guilt bombs disguised as family check-ins. For the first time in years, I could actually breathe. I sat on my floor with a cup of coffee and a Spotify playlist, realizing I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. No one was waiting for me to pay a bill, fix a disaster, or save the day. It was peace. But I knew my family. They don't just let go when they lose their favorite donor. By day 3, they started crawling back in the only language they knew, manipulation. Maybe we should talk like adults. Your mom's been sick with stress. You happy now? The kids are asking why Uncle Ghost doesn't call anymore. I saw the messages. I didn't reply, because I knew none of them missed me. They missed what I provided. But then came something I never expected. A message from my cousin Jason. I screwed up. Can we talk? I didn't answer. An hour later, he was standing at my front door, and he looked different. Not the usual half-asleep, hoodie-wearing, sarcasm-soaked version of him. He was cleaned up, hair-brushed, a blazer, even a watch. He looked like he was playing the role of functional brother. I enrolled in online courses, he said. Marketing. I've started working with a friend, trying to get it together, for real. I stayed silent. I was jealous of you, he said after a long pause. That's why I lashed out. You had your life. No chaos, no kids, no constant noise, and I hated that. I tilted my head. You here for money? No, he said quickly. I came to say I'm not your shadow anymore. For a second, I actually believed him. He left. 30 minutes later, I got an alert from my bank. Someone was trying to reset access to my online account. Guess who? Jason. He hadn't changed. He was acting. He came not to apologize. He came to see if I still believed their tears. I locked down every password, froze the backup card, alerted my bank again. That was the last time anyone from my family got near my life. And then came freedom. I ended my lease, accepted a job in another state, higher pay, new apartment, no relatives within a 400-mile radius. But the best part wasn't the job or the fresh start. It was a message from Kelly, Jason's wife. I saw what he did. I'm filing for divorce, and thank you. You were the only one who ever actually helped. That hit me harder than I expected. She knew this whole time. She knew what was happening, but she stayed quiet, until now. And suddenly I realized, maybe my decision wasn't just for me. Maybe me choosing myself gave someone else the courage to do the same. Before leaving town, I left one last message in the family group chat. I renamed it, "This bank has permanently closed. Try loving instead." Then I hit leave chat. As I drove away, car packed to the roof with boxes and music blasting through the windows, I smiled. I was alone, but for the first time that wasn't punishment. It was freedom. It's funny how quiet your world gets once you cut out the people who never actually listen to you. After I moved states, changed my number, blocked every one of them, the silence wasn't loneliness. It was peace. Raw, full-bodied, glorious peace. No more texts that said, "Can you just cover this month's rent?" No more guilt trips wrapped in fake concern. No more watching my phone light up with names that only appeared when their bills did. They were gone. And not just gone, cut off. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't financially attached to anyone else's survival. And for the first time in my adult life, I was surviving on my own terms. I found a new apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. My rules. My budget. My fridge filled only with things I liked. The first night I slept there, I left my phone on Do Not Disturb. Not because I expected a call, but because I finally knew there wouldn't be one. And let me tell you, there's a kind of healing that happens in silence, in not having to explain yourself, in not having to defend your boundaries, in not constantly wondering, am I being too harsh? No, you're not being harsh. You're being free. They tried, of course. New numbers, blocked. Contact voicemails, blocked. Even a burner Instagram account that messaged me with "Come home. We're family. Enough is enough." I laughed. Enough is enough? That's what I said when you voted to steal from me and laughed in my face. That's what I said when my own father told me I should do more because I didn't have kids. That's what I said when my brother, after all that, still tried to hack into my bank account. But now it's different. Now, enough isn't a request. It's a boundary. And guess what? It's one they'll never cross again. I started therapy, told my therapist everything. She didn't blink, just nodded and said, "You were conditioned to believe that love must be earned through sacrifice." That sentence stuck with me, because that's what it was. They made me feel that unless I gave, I wasn't worth anything. Unless I paid, I wasn't part of the group. Unless I sacrificed something, money, time, peace, they wouldn't even pretend to love me. That's not how family should act. That was control, not care. And I escaped it. People ask me now, do you regret cutting them off? No, not for a second. I regret not doing it sooner. I regret every birthday party I funded where I wasn't even invited. I regret every time I canceled plans to drive across town because someone's electric bill was late. I regret being the one who remembered every cousin's kid's birthday while they forgot mine year after year. I regret letting them trick me into thinking I was the selfish one. No, I don't even flinch when I think of them. They made their choice when they decided I was useful, not loved. They voted, and now so did I. Unanimous cut off. But here's the twist they never saw coming. I'm doing better than I ever did when I was their emotional and financial prisoner. I got promoted. I started traveling. I'm dating someone who doesn't ask me for anything except presence and honesty. I'm rediscovering hobbies I gave up years ago to chase approval. I picked up photography. I'm learning to cook, real food, not just takeout eaten at my desk at midnight while paying someone else's rent. I adopted a dog. I named her Balance. She's quiet, loyal, and doesn't expect anything from me but love, which, honestly, is more than I can say about most of my blood relatives. And just when I thought the story was over, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It just said, "He's out. We're getting divorced. I wanted you to know." It was Kelly, Jason's now ex-wife. She finally left him. Apparently, my brother's little transformation had an expiration date. She told me later he spiraled, lost the job, got drunk, blew through whatever was left of his savings. She found out he was still trying to use my old bank info, even after getting caught. "You were the only one who ever saw it clearly," she said. "I didn't believe you before. I do now." And that's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about cutting them off. It was about refusing to carry their delusion anymore. Sometimes when you walk away, you don't just save yourself, you shine a light for someone else to finally see the truth. I didn't lose a family. I freed myself from a scam. So when people ask, "What happened with your family?" I smile and I say, "I used to be the one who paid for Christmas. Now I'm the one who saved myself from it. And I wouldn't trade that freedom for anything."